Welcome back to Rock Guitar Confidential with Scott and Ryan. On today's episode, more hope for mankind, but doom for serial kind. Stay tuned.
Easy to feel like bummed out all the time. You know what I mean? It's feels such a wonderful thing to have hope. My God.
Yeah, there's hope for humankind.
There is. There's so much hope. Oh my God, we're living in a crazy time. So like we've got like just now we had like two very recent old guys rock thing that we just saw. We have obviously Lex Legion, which we're excited and we're waiting with bated breath.
Yeah, dude, the second single, Gypsy Tears, is badass.
They're just kicking so much.
So awesome. Yeah,
I guess they're on the cover of Sweden Rock Magazine or something like that now.
Nice.
They're doing a big long interview and stuff like that about what's coming. So I think July is when the album drops, which is so cool.
I think June.
Is it June? Okay,
yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, so I think we get the whole thing then. Yeah,
can't wait. And then just out of nowhere on my feed the other day, I had this thing from Zan Cody, which is basically half of Shaka Messiah.
Yeah, Zinny Zan and
Harry Cody.
Yeah,
on guitar. And Harry Cody's a fucking beast, man. I've loved his playing forever. And so, and I just figured, okay, we're never going to hear from Harry Cody ever again. He's just going to live in the sewers of Los Angeles.
Right? Yeah, they've been living underground beneath the city of Los Angeles since the 90s.
Shipping containers and in the sewers and stuff. But they came out and said, you know what? What if we just rock? We're just gonna rock. That's what we're gonna do, and they did. And so anyway,
I hear if Zinny Zan crawls out of his shipping container and sees his shadow, and goes back inside. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah.
Well, good. A good rocking summer. Well, I love that song so much because not only does it sound like vintage Shaka Messiah with the shredding Harry Cody solo and stuff, but the vibe. This is the thing that's missing from rock music.
Yeah, the name of the song is
Damn.
And we're not. That's DAMN. Just in case you thought it was about like controlling the flow of water.
It's not hydroelectric plant related.
No,
that's a different band. I'm sure there's there's a hydroelectric plant-based band somewhere out there in the world, I'm sure.
A different,
but no, the vibe, one of the pre-choruses is like, I won't obey and I won't get on my knees. It's like, I'm going my way and I'll do what I play. It's like, fuck yeah, man. That's rock and roll right there. Like, fuck you. I'm going to do me. That kind of, and that's something that's totally missing from rock music now.
The language of rebellion.
It's the rebellion, exactly.
Yep.
Like, I won't obey and I won't get down on my knees. It's like, like fuck yeah. That's, as soon as I heard that, I'm not going to lie, I got a little excited.
So this is the second episode of our podcast in a row where we've been stoked about new music.
Kicking ass, dude. So much good stuff. And then that led right away to discovery of this new rabbit hole I just fell down with this new wave of traditional heavy metal.
Yes, we talked about that last week with the band Show and Tell and their track Haunted by the Night.
And we found so many other great bands in that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we had Wings of Steel just dropped a killer new tune.
Yeah, so we've talked about Wings of Steel on the program before.
Yes, but dude, they're still kicking ass. They're doing great. What's the other band you just? It was there's two other bands we just listened to before we got.
So there's also Savetta. And I don't really know much about them except their lead guitar player has clearly an 80s era Kramer.
And the rhythm guitar player is playing an 80s style Dean guitar, which I didn't realize you can still get your hands on Dean guitars. I
think that's a more judging by the shape of the headstock. That's
probably more modern.
Modern, right?
But Dean doesn't exist in any form anymore. So.
And their drummer has the famous cross with balls tattoo.
Famous,
Yes. Cross and balls.
I assume they're from Europe, so probably walk down any street in Amsterdam, you see someone with a cross and balls tattoo.
The cross and balls.
That's just the standard thing that you see at that spot. You know what I mean? But
in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the band's original name.
Cross and balls.
Cross and balls.
It sounds like a bad law firm. You injured in an accident? Come to Cross and Balls.
Call Cross and Balls at
we'll get you everything you deserve.
900,
maybe a little more. Cross and Balls.
I love it. Perfect. Exactly.
Yeah, but no. And then what's the band? The Japanese band we just listened to too. Like
Hagane.
Not surprisingly, Ryan found a great Japanese band. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen because it's like they look like they just walked off from their office job. These Japanese girls.
The singer looks like she just walked out. It's like the break room at Sony Incorporated or something.
And then all of a sudden they just start shredding and it's screaming I'm like it's crazy. It's the weirdest thing. Like your brain's trying to marry the images you're seeing with what you're hearing.
Yeah. So Hagane, as far as I can tell, and I haven't been able to go too deep on it. But they it seems like they do mostly covers, right?
So I assume so, but it's killer, man.
Yeah, we just watched their rendition of "Kill the King" by Rainbow, which is one of my favorite songs of all time.
A pretty good song. It's a good one. Solid.
It's extra points for their guitar player. I've seen I remember I bought I have a DVD of Rainbow playing in Munich, Germany in '77.
DVD is a form of physical media that shows images.
Yes,
for the youngins
correct.
out there who don't know what that is.
Yes, it stands for a digital video disc.
Yes.
And so it's like a piece of like plastic, like a drink coaster.
It's not a CD, by the way. And
No,
CDs
not
are
a
also not
compact
DVDs
disc.
because I find that generation doesn't know the difference between a CD and a DVD. They all look the same to them. So
yes. So
no offense, people of your generation. It's just
and it came in like a plastic like container with like pictures on it and stuff that you would look at.
Where you could actually find out the names of the people in the band and what band it is.
Right.
That's actually really unusual now.
Yeah, that definitely helps that it's written on the box, that you know what's inside.
And inside you know who plays what. Like this is the singer, this is the drummer. Well, not that you care about the drummer, but the guitar player and the bass player. Nah, the bass player.
We don't care.
Just the guitar players and the singer. That's
pretty
what
much
really matters.
that's kind of the information that you need.
Yes.
To
and then somebody played drums.
Move forward with
somebody
the
played bass. Who knows who? It could be whoever. It really, this whoever. It says on there just whoever. Who doesn't matter.
Although I've got to say, if we're talking about Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, you're talking about Roger Glover on bass.
Was Roger Glover in Rainbow too? I thought that was like the schism. I didn't remember which side of the schism of Deep Purple.
No, that's part of why Rainbow was so great. Is that Roger Glover did a lot of the songwriting.
By the way, VGA artist Roger Glover.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yep. So,
and Cozy Powell on drums.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's
and Ronnie James Dio on vocals.
Right, I mean, such a killer band. Yeah. So anyway, I remember buying that DVD and then skipping right to Kill the King because I thought it was going to rip.
Yeah.
And Richie Blackmore just totally like mails it in on the solo.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he just totally
that
just
sounds like a Richie
munches
Blackmore thing to do.
Right.
Like,
he kind of just fucks it off.
I'll try when I want to try. You know,
I think he tried to turn it into like a slide guitar solo, and it wasn't cool.
That's never cool to do that.
No, it wasn't cool at all.
Sidebar, and I had a student of mine the other day come in. He looks at me, he goes, try it. Here, she pulls out a slide, says, show me everything I need to know about this. I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's just vastly inferior to using your fingers.
wait, so he handed you a slide?
Yeah, I'm like, all right, this is how you think about things.
You should have just like grabbed the slide and then just toss it like over your shoulder into the trash can
exactly.
and then just moved on.
I told him, like, well, here's the thing you need to know about this. It's vastly inferior to just using your fingers. So I don't know why you'd want to use this, but here's how you could use it if you wanted to for whatever reason, you know, and I showed him the slide. But
to be fair, I recently...
Actually, I've used slide on several of my albums, by the way.
Totally.
So it's like I really talking on both sides of my mouth, talking shit about the slide, and yet I actually use the slide.
I don't have the same feeling. I think slides are cool. It's not like a capo. You know what I mean?
True. No, I agree, but it's like also there's like so many things you're taking off the table when you use a slide that you could do that are cool.
I saw a meme this last week. I almost sent it to you. It was a
if it's talking shit about a capo, you should have definitely sent it to me.
It was a picture of a Guitar Hero controller. You know, the plastic controller with like the colored buttons where the frets would be.
Yeah, when people told me back in the early 2000s when they're practicing, I didn't really practice, but I played a lot of Guitar Hero this week, so that counts, right?
So it's a Guitar Hero controller with a capo on it. I thought it was pretty funny. So
let's put all the terrible things in one place. You know,
anyway, so the girl in Hagenay, she does not like. I mean, I don't know how much like post production whatever they put into it, but just giving her the benefit of the doubt, like she nails the solo.
A hell of a guitar player, absolutely.
And the drummer's fucking great too.
She's like 12 years old. I don't know.
Right, it's this tiny Japanese girl just ripping these double kick parts. Right? Like early double kick and
all these like
metal.
All these like doing these hi hat fills and stuff, where she's like opening the hat and closing the hat,
and all the flair and stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Totally got the vibe. You know, so
it's fantastic.
One thing I've struggled with when it comes to American heavy metal for really the last 20-something years is not that there's not a lot of good bands. I think there are a lot of good bands out there, but there's always something you're giving up with a lot of American heavy metal bands. There's like, you're either getting the great guitar playing, but you don't get awesome songs or good hooks. You don't get killer vocal hooks or melodies. Most of the singers are just screaming or whining half the song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's just it's
the metalcore thing. It's the metalcore influence. A lot of youngins think that metalcore is what metal is. You know what I mean?
Well, it's kind of like when Pantera just went like super heavy in the 90s.
Yeah.
Right? Like they just went full on like
even from Cowboys from Hell went heavier than that.
Macho Man,
like C standard stuff.
Just all testosterone, just like just crowds full of sweaty dudes music. Right, yeah. So which, I mean, seriously, man, like
you think it's an outgrowth of that? You think Pantera started like the whole metalcore thing? You think?
I mean, I think it's definitely like a precursor, and then there's
definitely was a precursor, yeah.
and then American metal just going full on fucking like toxic masculinity.
Well, yeah, between Godsmack and Pantera, and then you had like these bands like that came up from the new wave of American heavy metal. I think like Trivium and Shadows Fall and Killswitch Engage. Those
so
bands,
there at least there's some virtuosity.
There's some great guitar playing.
Yeah,
Shadows Fall for sure. You know, all those bands I just mentioned. I'm sure the Lamb of God had great guitar players in that band too. Trivium, we put later on Periphery, like in the 2009-ish area.
Yeah,
great guitar playing, really progressive structures. I think from a musical standpoint, Born of Osiris is another band like that.
Yeah.
There's a few bands in that world that I think are really good bands, but I just despise the vocals. There's no melodic component to it. And if there is, it's like this, I'm whiny.
Yeah.
In the verses, and it goes on the choruses, and it's like, there's nothing to grab the hold of melodically or hook wise. It's just a bunch of riffs that are pretty cool with a cool solo, which I appreciate that. But at the same time, it's like there's no anything else to the song. You know, there's not really like, I don't know. That's just me complaining at this point. So, what are we gonna say?
Yeah, I just so I don't really think of. I don't think of Lamb of God is heavy, and there's some really cool stuff there.
Yeah, I think so too. The vocals I don't dig at all, though. So,
yeah, and I don't think of them as being like sort of like the Macho Man kind of thing. I don't know.
Well, it's not about the macho. It's just the style of music with like the scream choruses and the scream verses. Like, there's not a melodic component to the music.
Well, let me approach it from another angle, okay? So, like, one of my favorite things about that Hagenay video, right, apart from the fact that, you know, like everyone's like playing against type in the band. Like you wouldn't expect. Like,
it is very
just these unassuming Japanese girls to rip, right?
Stuff. Oh yeah, they're totally rocking.
They
the vocals
rip,
are badass too.
But like, you know what? Like they're also smiling and having a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just, you know, like
Killer King, haha. It's like, oh, let's go get some ice cream after this. You know, it's like,
so like, you know, now a song like Respect by Pantera, I mean, yeah, that appealed to me when I was an insecure.
We're talking about Walk, right?
Or Walk, I'm sorry, Walk, yeah. Are you talking to me? Like, that kind of Macho Man bullshit appealed to me when I was 15 and I was like an insecure, zitty fat kid in high school, right?
Gotcha, okay.
Like, I get that, right?
Well, because that gives you powerful feelings, sort of. You know what I mean? It's
like
kind of like probably similar to what we felt like when we had Youth Gone Wild when we were like 15, 14 years old. You know what I mean?
But Youth Gone Wild's got more fun. There's something
definitely
darker about a song like Walk, right?
Yeah,
like, so the kid who is. Like the kid who is like super stoked about a song like Walk is also the same kid who's being recruited by like white supremacist groups.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, it's a lot of crossover in Pantera fandom for sure. Those two things.
And again, I got to meet Dimebag. He was super cool. If like I
like his playing. He's a good player.
You know, we talked about this on the podcast. The people that make the metal are not like the people who consume the metal sometimes.
The Abbott brothers seemed like they were both kind of like nice dudes.
Yeah, good old boys, right?
Phil grew up in Texas, so they're gonna have some limitations in their.
I mean, Phil Anselmo, I think, is a dipshit.
Yeah.
You know,
and I think Rex Brand's like any other bass player, just happy to be there.
Right, he's just happy to be.
He's the Michael Anthony of Pantera. You know what I mean? It's like, cool, I'm the bass player.
So I think that there's so that influence, right? The using like Pantera's Walk and that whole like Macho Man thing. Like that's just not present in other cultures.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right?
Like the toxic masculinity. Well, I mean, there's definitely the machismo thing, like in Italy and Spain and stuff like that, in France. You know, like a lot of those patriarchal societies. There's definitely a lot of machismo.
You think France is a patriarchal society?
Oh, it's totally patriarchal.
Is it?
Yeah, it's so patriarchal. I mean,
France?
Yes, it is. Very much so. Absolutely.
Interesting.
It's not. It doesn't have the toxic edge like that we have here, though. We have this like toxic edge in America with this. I don't know, like this, like bordering on violence. Threats,
it's just insecure males. Like America's got a lot of those
incels, right?
Right. Yeah. Totally. Like incel culture, right?
Yeah.
So I think. I just don't think like in Japan. I don't think that there is that, right? Like it doesn't come through in the music, right?
Moving it back to the music side of it, though, I think you're right. One thing that a lot of American metal doesn't have is fun. There's not like a fun, kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, like you can play heavy music and also have fun. You don't need to front like you're a tough guy.
Or like you're really tortured or something like that.
Right.
Like, everything's terrible. Fuck everything. I'm so tortured and I'm so messed up.
Yeah,
I'm so messed up.
I think in other cultures, like it's still okay to have fun.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing I love about the traditional heavy metal stuff we've been coming across. Everything's got like a fun vibe to it. It's got an up kind of vibe.
Everyone's having fun.
Everyone's wanting to have fun. Even if you're singing a song that's like, you know, like Burning Sands is a pretty heavy song.
Totally.
But that from Wings of Steel, if you're wondering. But it's also got like this vibrantness to it though too. It's got this like up kind of vibe with the way the vocal delivery.
So I guess what we're trying to say is, like, music can be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Oh my God, really?
Well, we had an entire decade called the like late 70s through the early 90s where music was nothing but fun for the most part. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's we argued about this before. I think that's one of the reasons why New Country kind of became such a big thing in the 2000s, because that was still fun, big show, and people could go just drink.
Yeah,
and have fun.
the problem with that
Rock
is
kind of
that,
ceded that territory of having fun to like
the problem
country.
with the New Country thing is that it may be fun, but it's also really dumb.
No doubt. But that means, well, I don't think, Talk Dirty to Me wasn't exactly, Robert Frost either. But that means,
well, now that was like a cover of like a 50s song, right?
I'm just saying, like, the vibe of a lot of the 80s metal was not like overly intelligent either. You know what I mean? But Girls, Girls, Girls at the Dollhouse in Fort Lauderdale. I mean, that's not exactly. That could be a Luke Bryan lyric. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Let's not get on our high horse.
Yeah, just without the awesome
80s metal
music.
Was all kinds of stuff, but it
well, I mean,
smart, and the Queensryche was smart, and Rush was smart, and there's like lyrics here.
Again, you can write music that comes from above the shoulders or below the belt.
Yep,
or both. Or both, right? Yeah. It's probably best when it's both.
It's definitely best when it's both,
right?
For sure, yeah.
Right, but like Motley Crue was like a below the belt band
for sure, but with great riffs though. I think I respect
a below the belt.
I respect
band.
Mick Mars, because he's a hell of a riff writer, man, and his solos are always right on the money. It's not like he's a shredder, but he plays exactly what's needed. You know what I mean?
There's no Motley Crue without Mick Mars.
No, Motley Crue.
It was his band.
I'm not a giant Mick Mars fan, but I respect Mick Mars. I think he's a very good player. He's great for what they do. If they'd gotten Jakey Lee in that band like they planned, like right around the Bark of the Moon time,
whole different band.
They would have been a different band. It would have become Jakey Lee's band. It would have been but it would have been fucking sick, no doubt about it. They would have definitely replaced Vince at some point.
Yeah, right. Vince. It would have become Badlands with like Tommy Lee on drums and Nikki Sixx.
And probably Nikki Sixx not there anymore either.
So we just would have got Badlands.
It was Tommy Lee and Jake with like probably exactly. Yeah, maybe Phil Soussan would come into that band at some point, and then replace him with a better player.
Yeah,
and then
Although wait, Jake and Phil Soussan had like a falling out.
Yeah, because Phil Soussan's
he's kind of a douche.
Yeah. So of course they did. Yeah. I'm trying to think who's the bassist from Badlands. I'm spacing on his name.
He's Greg Chasin.
Greg Chasin, yeah, he's a great guitar player. He's that too, a great bass player. They definitely should have, that Badlands should have kept going, man. It just fucking sucks.
I know, man. And the albums are out of print. Right? Yeah, well, or they're not even on streaming. Like
nobody can. Well, I have them, but I mean, it's one of those things.
I mean, I had them at one point, but I mean, that was back on. Well, we were talking about compact discs earlier.
Yes, physical media that has music on it.
It exists on a shiny drink coaster somewhere.
Exactly. But no, the new wave of traditional heavy metal that's becoming out and has been for the last few years is really great. I love it, and what's cool is it's not just like middle-aged people or like older people making it. There's a lot of these like 20, 30-year-olds who have discovered that music, and it's like, oh my God, this is great. And they are like pining. They wish they could have been in 1986 or 1987. That's like you can tell from the vibe of how they're presenting the band. Yeah, that they wish it was that time period. You know what I mean? And so that tells me that I'm not alone in feeling very disappointed with American metal. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, most of the bands in the traditional heavy metal wave are bands from Europe and other parts of the world. It's
Wings of Steel's a U.S. band, right?
I don't know if they are not. I don't know. Heat's another band from Europe. There's a bunch of these bands there's a bunch of these bands in that style who are awesome. Yeah. Almost all of them are from Europe or South America.
Yeah, Savetta is most certainly European.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure. Again, we'll have to look up the Cross and Balls and find out what its origins are.
Are we ready to look at that Google search? Cross and Balls
see what
origin.
Happens. I'll go to Chat GPT or Robot Overlords and we'll find out. Yes,
exactly. But I mean, I don't know. Here's the question I have though. Do you think that music? There's two parts to that question. Do you think that music could be successful here as it is there? And number two, do you think it's possible for a band to have any kind of widespread success anywhere anymore because of the way that the music business is fragmented?
Yeah, I guess I'd want to see some statistics about who's streaming the content. Right,
we're just shooting from the hip, man. What's your gut tell you?
What is my?
Let's pretend like we're W. I listen to my gut.
Hang on. Well, let me just bash my head against the wall until I suffer brain damage. Okay, so I'm going to throw myself down the stairs.
Okay,
and once I've suffered enough brain damage, then I can assume my W persona, where wings take dream. Yeah,
fool me, won't get fooled again.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Here, just shove this pen in through my like ear canal, and then maybe
that's just saying.
I might.
Pew, pew, pew. Shoot from the hip, man. Just gonna shoot from the hip.
It's like that. It's like that episode of South Park where Cartman wants to be a NASCAR driver.
What?
And so he starts. Like, so he gives away all of his money because he doesn't think he's dumb and poor enough to be successful in NASCAR. So he gives Butters all of his money, right? And then Butters goes and buys like a bunch of canned food, like, and then goes to give it to all the NASCAR fans.
He doesn't think he's dumb or poor enough to be in NASCAR.
And then for some reason Cartman starts like eating Vagisil because he thinks it's making him more stupid, so he can be successful in NASCAR. Yeah.
There's a future of new country for you there, Cartman.
Right. There you go. So
trucks.
Corn trucks.
Exactly. Well, corn truck cereal. It is exactly.
Yep.
Them's delicious.
Good.
Now with minerals and such.
Dude, took our trucks.
Yep.
Anyway, so wait, why did I need to get stupid again?
Okay. They'll ask you like, do you think that
who's
music
listening
is successful
to
here? And
yeah.
you think is it possible for any band to become massively successful because of the way the music is fragmented?
Well, I mean, maybe this new wave of traditional heavy metal is happening because everything is so niche-y.
Yeah, maybe. So you think it's just a little niche in this little corner here? This is just a niche of this new wave.
Yeah, and I mean, how many teenage students do we have that are into, like classic metal?
Most of the ones I like who like metal are in the classic metal. Like,
right.
I have to turn them on to newer metal bands. Like, oh, there's this band, Shadows Fall. I go, what? I never heard of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's funny is it goes in cohorts, though. If you talk to someone who's like 35, they might be really pumped about like Periphery and Shadows Fall and stuff like that, because that's like the music that they kind of, or Devil Wears Prada, if we get really horrible. That might be like a band that they were really into. That cohort, like that mid-millennial years, those people are the ones who like those bands. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I mean, I'm aware of those bands. I have been. It's partially my job to be aware of those bands.
Right.
But at the same time, like I don't dislike those bands. It's a weird place I feel like with those bands. I don't think they suck, but I also don't really like them either. You know what I mean?
It's kind of in one way, it's kind of like. So every now and then a movie comes out that I'm sure I would enjoy. Just somehow I completely missed the boat on it.
Yeah.
Right. So for example, Mad Max Fury Road, I've never seen it.
Yeah, isn't it?
For some reason, even last week I was thinking, hell, I could just stream this and watch it.
Too, wasn't Furiosa? There's one.
Right. So I could do. So those are two movies I would probably enjoy.
And that's something that you and I would probably enjoy together. That sounds like a movie I would dig too.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's action, man. Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I'm not a horror movie guy, but I am an action movie guy.
Okay, well, I mean, it's kind of. Oh, so what got me thinking about it is that they've started remaking Fist of the North Star.
I've never heard of that. What is that?
Oh, it's an anime. It's the one where Kenshiro is the last practitioner of Hokuto no Ken. It's the martial art where he goes ta 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 ta. He like punches you 1,000 times and then like hits a pressure point in your head, and then he walks away and says, "You do not know that you are already dead." And then the bad guy, right, who's like a post-apocalyptic like motorcycle warrior, then his head explodes.
Oh wow!
It's the best shit ever.
Okay,
right. And so it's very much like Mad Max, right?
Okay.
Like that type.
So
of
it's like the wasteland,
people, gangs on motorcycles and just bash together vehicles and stuff. Water is like the most valuable resource.
Yeah.
It's just So warlords all over the place. Yeah, it's really fucking cool. There's a bunch of seasons of the original anime that was all released.
Is this recent? Like, was this like
they just released it. They did like a prequel series called Fist of the Blue Sky Regenesis with one of Kenshiro's ancestors, and that took place kind of more like World War II era, which was also great. But it's all cutting edge animation, right? Like it almost that there's CG involved. Which anime fans have different opinions about that, but it's highly detailed. It seems virtually 3-dimensional. It's very cool.
Okay,
it's
I've never heard of it, man.
Oh, you've got to check it out. It's so much fun.
I know my daughter probably would dig that. She's like massive anime.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. If you like action, it's the shit.
Yes, I do like action.
And lots of heads exploding. It's awesome.
Thanks for listening to the Rock Guitar Confidential podcast with Ryan and Scott. Please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Now back to the show. I'm indifferent to the heads exploding. I do like action.
Okay, well, then you just get so the exploding head is just the bloody icing on the cake.
Okay, very good.
On the action cake.
Okay, so wait, where are we going with that, though? We're going... Oh, it's a vote on movies that you would like.
So there's some stuff, right? So like that's an example of a movie that by rights I should have seen. Just somehow I just never get around to watching it.
So you feel like a lot of the American metal bands are like that? That you feel like
that's how I feel about like certain metal bands that came out after I had already like chosen all my favorite bands. And,
you know, like after you became an adult.
After I became an adult,
guitar forever and stuff. And you know what you like. And
so
that's why advertisers stop caring about you. By the way,
totally.
I mean, that's why it's after 35 they don't give a shit about you anymore because you already know what you like. They can't talk you into it.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, you know, maybe this is great. It's like, no, you know what you like.
We've already chosen the highest quality art from every possible discipline.
Well, fool me won't get fooled again. So that's ties it right back in. You know what I mean? But under that age, you might get fooled again. So that's why they care about that.
But there's so much more I could add to that. But.
Well, you know, I feel weird though. I don't dislike those bands. Like, I don't think Periphery sucks, or Shadows Fall sucks, or In Flames suck, or like those bands are all pretty cool bands. It's just that there's like elements I dig about them and elements I don't really dig about them at all. The vibe is just not for me. It's like the whole thing. It's like I don't think it's not. I mean, it's partially maybe the Macho Man Pantera Walk thing. It's to me, it's kind of amelodic music. And I think that melody is not optional. You have to have melody for there to be music happening. You know, you can't just check out and just opt out of heavy melody. You know what I mean? And having a guitar melody is great. If just make it instrumental, then I don't need the scream vocals. Just if you're going to just do melodies on the guitars like Arch Enemy,
just give me more of them.
Just do instrumental music. I'd rather hear that than hear this guy. Blah, 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 blah.
Well, Arch Enemy, it's a chick.
Well, I know. Okay, hear this chick going. Blah, 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 you know, so ironically, it's still a chick doing the same thing.
Right.
But actually, that sounds vaguely sexist. I don't know why that. A nice, lovely woman doing that sort of thing.
It's not sexist, man. It's rock and metal. We can all loosen up a little. Fuck.
That being said, like you can't just opt out of having melody. You know what I mean? None of the greatest metal bands. Think of all the great. Even like Slayer has melody. You know, even like heavy bands.
Although the vocals in Slayer are atonal.
No, there's definitely some melodicism going on.
I miss when Tom Araya, like on the early albums, when he used to just straight up like high pitched scream.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like on Angel of Death, that was.
But if you look at like Seasons in the Abyss and stuff, there's definitely melody going on with that. You know what I mean?
He was more melodic vocally on Show No Mercy, like the first album. And then
South of Heaven's got some melodic stuff too. The stuff I've heard from it, mostly is from Seasons in the Abyss and South of Heaven.
And I think Tom Araya is the perfect voice for Slayer.
Yeah,
but. But the bar for melody for his vocals are low.
But there is still melody. It's not amelodic. You know what I mean? And then if you look at like Testament, Chuck Billy, it's not amelodic. You know what I mean? It's very.
Yeah, I would say Chuck Billy is more melodic than Tom Araya.
No
Tom
doubt.
Araya is.
Dude, Chuck Billy's one of the greatest thrash metal vocalists.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is where you got to give Anthrax credit, man. I think Joey Belladonna was the best singer out of the Big Four.
The Big Four, no doubt.
Yep,
no doubt. I'm a bigger fan of Testament than I am of Anthrax, though. So it's for obvious reasons.
I mean, I love them both. What's that?
Alex Skolnick.
Yeah, Skolnick's great, and they had James. They've had Eric Peterson's great. Right?
Also, James Murphy too.
They've had a lot of great players. And you know what? Testament's
Eric Peterson is great. You're right. I'll give him his flowers.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Fucking awesome. Yeah.
Testament's been consistently active, also,
and
like
good.
Since their inception.
They've not really put out any stinkers at all.
No, not at all.
Some are better than others, but they're all good. You know what I mean?
There's not a Testament album that sucks.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah,
and that's largely thanks to Eric Peterson being such a fucking amazing riff writer.
He's the rock of that band, right?
Great riff writer. Absolutely. He's right up there with Tony Iommi and Dave Mustaine and those guys like that.
Agreed.
Like thrash metal writing. I mean, Iommi's not a thrash band, but heavy music riff writers. You know what
Agreed.
I mean?
Now, all that
James Hetfield, I'll throw him in there too.
All that having been said, I'm still going to pick Joey Belladonna because he's a more traditional singer, right? Yep. Like I think he can sing.
He fronts a Journey tribute band. That shows you how much of a singer he is.
Right. I mean? Joey Belladonna's the shit.
Yeah.
Right.
I like Chuck Billy a lot, though. I'll be honest with you.
I like Chuck Billy a lot too. I'm glad Chuck Billy is still with us, man, because there was a time. It was a long time ago. We thought he wouldn't be.
Yeah, him and Chuck were both sick at the same time. They had like this concert. That's what led to Testament coming back together with Alex.
Yeah,
they did a benefit concert for Chuck and for the other Chuck. So
Chuck Billy and Chuck
Schuldiner.
Oh yeah.
And
God, it still bums me out so much.
Well, Chuck made it through. The other Chuck didn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? That sucks.
Scary shit, man.
Well, you know the thing about like Death, and Death's really the granddaddy of all the death metal bands. I guess you can throw maybe Napalm Death in there. There's a few others. Oh God, I'm trying to think.
Carcass is pretty influential.
Yeah, that's the death metal like granddaddies. You know
You got to give Deicide credit, man. I was just watching a little documentary on Deicide and how like, man, I remember when Glenn Benton. Like there was the rumors about
Cannibal Corpse.
Cannibal Corpse, right?
Those guys in there, yeah.
It's like, dude, the singer from Deicide, burned an inverted cross into his forehead, and like he was even like talking shit on King Diamond's Satanism, and I was like, man, this is great. We've got competition to see who's like most satanic. Yeah,
has most fealty to the Dark Lord.
Yeah, so that's something that I want more in music.
But I mean, those guys, those bands all brought something to the table where, like, especially like with a band like Death, with like just superior musicianship, just a fantastic.
Oh God, yes.
And I think, but a lot of the other bands are just like a lot of when there's an innovator, there's a lot of sort of echoes that kind of try to go down, but they fall vastly short of the innovator. You know what I mean? And so I feel like the death metal influence is, it's really just spiraled too. I have a few of my students who are really into death metal, but it's gotten so subgenred that like they cut it up like in it's like splitting the atom, like how much they cut it up into little pieces. Like, oh, I really like this kind of like. This, I can't remember what they call it. There's some like weird nickname that in that little group they know what it is, but like nobody outside that group knows.
It's like a subgenre. You mean
subgenre of a subgenre of a subgenre kind of thing. And it's like my status is
tech gent death.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's melodic tech death. It's not like the other stuff. That's the other stuff sucks.
Yeah, dude, it's not just death metal.
It's not real metal. That kind of thing. I would make the point like that doesn't help anybody. Like the super subgenreization of metal makes it just so stupid. The only people who care about is you and your four friends. No one else.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like when. It's like when Falling in Reverse came out. Oh, this is called post-hardcore. No, it's not. It's just metal.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's great.
But the people like to define stuff because that makes them feel like they have some little piece of turf that's
right,
theirs.
like it's theirs, right?
Yeah, you know
exactly.
What I mean? And that's just so stupid.
That's kind of weird. The the concept of like feeling ownership over music.
Yeah, I don't get that either. It belongs to everybody. But I think that anyway. That the reason I'm bringing that up is that style of music, which I think most modern metal, most American metal, is kind of coming from that metalcore, like hardcore / death metal. Sort
Great
of world.
Lizzie Borden song, by the way.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. But it's like I don't dig that music. I want to. It's got elements that I really like, but it's like they don't have the traditional heavy metal is like that's like where it's at, man. That hits that sweet spot.
And I'll try to weave this together. I mean, people feel a sense of ownership over music because it signals to other people like what your personality and values are, right?
Yeah, it's an identifier.
Yeah, it's absolutely it's an identifier. It's like your business card.
Drive,
right?
Where do you live? What neighborhood do you live in?
Yeah, because again, let's not forget we're all just a bunch of monkeys.
That being said, though, I think the youngest generation, like let's say under 15 right now, I don't think they really do think of music as being a thing that identifies them, not in mass.
You don't think so?
I don't. No, I think that most of them it's more like what the TikTokers they like, what YouTubers they like, what their social media following is like. That's what they see. Because I mean, I can't tell how many times I talk to people under 15 and they can't even name an artist or a genre that they like. So they clearly don't define themselves by their music. They define themselves by other things. So I think we're talking about probably 25 and up who might define themselves by their music a little bit more.
Well, I mean, there's the teenagers who care about music.
Yes, that's
right.
The outlier,
so they're still trying to like when they tell you who their favorite band is, they're trying to signal to you like, hey, these things are important. Here's what I'm all about.
And I respect that passion. Yeah. I really do. I think that's fantastic. I love that. I celebrate that. Even if I hate the music they like, it's like at least you really are passionate about it.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Which again is why the walk Pantera thing. Like I just find that wholly unappealing.
Yes.
Right. It's just but I can't. I'm not going to fault like Dimebag's performance or the actual music itself. No, the whole
Pantera has a lot of very good music.
Absolutely, man. Like I remember, dude, fucking Hostile blew me away when I first heard it. Like that was, and then you know what? There was no Pantera after that like made me feel that way. Like, what the fuck is this? Whoa, right?
Well, I remember hearing like Cowboys from Hell and thinking that's a cool riff, and I thought it was cool, but I didn't think it was terribly remarkable. I thought it was cool.
Right.
It was cool. It's like I think most Pantera I've always kind of thought it's pretty cool. I like that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean, it's not like I don't like. I mean, the vocals I don't like.
Agreed.
But that's also I don't dig screamed or like hardcore influenced vocals. That's just not for me.
Yeah, I don't mind hardcore vocals in a certain like context, right? I mean, I think like if you listen to like Chuck Schuldiner wailing over Death's cover of Painkiller, like it's so extreme, it's fucking great, right? So yeah, I mean, Chuck Schuldinner's voice on the Death stuff. It's kind of like what that music demands.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
That's why I like the Control the Night stuff better.
Yeah. Well, there's only one album, right?
I know, but that's like more traditional heavy metal. You know, that's kind of, and that's where I live.
So for those who don't know, Control Denied was Chuck Schuldinner's like prog metal project.
Yep.
That wasn't Death.
Yeah.
There's only one album, right?
I think there's one, and like there's some other demos that got released in some kind of form or something.
But that's with like a traditional melodic singer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's more like a Judas Priest kind of thing.
Yes.
But like more shredding. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, not that the Priest doesn't shred, they do, but like, you know, especially Painkiller On, they actually written sweep art pages and all kinds of shit. That was awesome. I love seeing that, dude. But these bands in this like 70s, and they fucking learned how to do sweep picking because they're inspired by Vinnie Moore.
And there's some
80s,
if you and like those solos are kind of tough because like Glenn's kind of in free time in some places.
Yep.
Like the arpeggios aren't like super like symmetrical polish. Like he's
figuring it out. You know?
Yeah, like it sounds like an improvised solo.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
It's structured like an improvised solo.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a
lot of KK
one.
solos like that too. KK solos are very improvised. You can tell it's like just take.
Yeah, right.
You know, let's get one that's cool.
Although KK is more of like a pentatonic box guy
and whammy bar
bar guy, right?
Yeah,
whereas Glenn got into the arpeggios.
Yeah, Glenn's more
stuff.
like melodic, I would say, and then KK is more like a ballsy kind of like whammy bar, kind of hitting the
yes.
Four on the floor kind of thing. Speaking
and later their DNA was used to create the guitar players from Savetta.
Yes, who are exactly like
who
Glenn
look
Tipton
exactly
and
like Glenn and KK.
That's so fun. But they're good. They're good players, and it just makes it does my heart so good to see those bands. So bands like Heat, Savetta, Wings of Steel, you know, and then the old timers like Lex Legion and Zan Cody still putting out music. You know, it's like so cool to see. It just makes
we're in a cool moment.
It makes my heart really happy. It's like
absolutely
some killer music, not just good music, killer music.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's like awesome. It's like, you know, I just feel like that's great. That shows me that there's, you know, I don't have this delusion that all of a sudden it's going to overtake the world and become like a massive thing again, because I don't think that's ever going to happen again. Not tied to some huge cultural movement like Taylor Swift kind of thing, where she's just like the pop princess du jour. You know what I mean? That's the only kind of thing that will become massive again, I think, in my opinion. Or unless some like rapper does some horrible thing where they get arrested and
I don't know. I have a feeling like maybe like rap and hip hop is kind of on the decline right now.
I think it's on the wind down a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. I'm not quite sure.
Well, it's been on the charge for like 20 years now, so it's, you know what I mean. So and the New Country is still doing its thing. You know?
Yeah, it's just like a fucking big dumb redneck zombie that won't die.
Every time you shoot it, it just keeps coming back.
It just keeps coming back. Yeah, exactly.
Quick side note: I wanted to ask you. This is completely zigging and zagging. I don't know if you heard about what's going on with Fender right now. Did you hear about what Fender's doing?
No. Tell me about it.
You haven't heard about this?
No.
I'm shocked.
Well, maybe I have. I don't know. Dude, I've had my... So, everyone out there, if you have a non-professional musician in your life between the ages of 12 and 20 who's interested in a career in the music industry, please make sure to register for Stairway to Stardom at Skips Music. June 1st is the registration deadline, and I'll be hosting a Q&A information session at Skips Music at 1:30 p.m. this coming Saturday. So sign up for Stairway to Stardom, kids.
Okay, so apparently, very recently, like in the last couple of weeks, Fender won a lawsuit against a manufacturer who was making S-style guitars.
Strat style.
It wasn't. They were making, you know, kind of Strat copies, but it wasn't one of those things where it's like, you know, they were exactly Fender, but they won the lawsuit. So now they've sent cease and desist orders to every manufacturer saying you must stop making S-style guitars. Now, they can't do that in the United States because the United States, the Strat body is public domain. So anybody can build a Strat-style guitar in the United States, but not so in Europe. So, but basically, that just means that in Europe, they're trying to actually shut down everybody who manufactures any kind of S-style guitars.
Wait, does that mean just something that's exactly like a Stratocaster, or would that include like the Ibanez RG? Or
any
the
Strat-style guitar.
Wait, does that include like the Soloist or like the DC 600?
So let me go back to the top of this thing. I'll read it here for you. Okay, the development comes after Fender secured a landmark ruling in Germany in which the regional court of Dusseldorf established legal precedent to protect the Stratocaster body design. According to Fender, the outcome of the case launched against a Chinese manufacturer gave the firm legal right to protect its designs in global commerce. It established the Stratocaster as a copyrighted work of art based on original creative expression. Any firms operating or selling Stratocaster-inspired guitars in the EU are believed to be at risk of running afoul of the ruling. And they've sent cease and desist orders, Yep. That warning Fender has warned that offering infringing products for sale in Germany or other countries in the EU was sufficient to establish liability regardless of where the manufacturer or seller is based.
Well, Thoman's got to be concerned. Like Harley Benton's going to be affected like right away.
Anybody who's building this style guitars anywhere in the world except for the United States is going to be affected. You know what I mean?
I wonder if that would affect comparison, because that's an offset. Like you can't just forbid like every like 2-horn double cutaway style guitar.
That's
right?
what they're doing. And then they're trying to.
Well, wait. So does that include like the Gibson SG or the Junior? I mean,
no,
that
it's Strat style guitar. So I would say comparisons are definitely in the Strat family. I would say Ibanez, Jackson. But here's the thing, though. Jackson's part of Fender, so they're not going to.
They're not. Yeah. So that's right.
Charvel's part of Fender. EVH is part of Fender. So those guys are all safe.
So like probably the next biggest would be like Hoshino with Ibanez.
Yep.
But still,
or comparison, or any other company that makes Strat style guitars. You know,
I mean, like I would understand if it were the exact like dimensions of the Fender Stratocaster.
That's not what they're claiming. They're claiming anything inspired by the Strat style.
Oh, that's such bullshit.
It is so bullshit.
Can't. No, that's like okay. That's fine if you want to protect like specifically the Stratocaster.
Yes, if they're making like a 54 Strat copy and they're doing exact specs or something, then sure.
Yeah.
But that's not what they're doing. They're saying anybody making any S style guitars is now infringement of copyright.
Oh, that's such a bunch of bullshit.
They can't do it here because here it's in public domain. In the United States, it's illegal. You can't. There's no copyright on the Strat body.
I was gonna say shit, man. We might. I don't want to sell any of my guitars, but if that's gonna cause the value to go through the roof in Europe.
I'm just saying, like, isn't that nuts, dude? Like
that is nuts.
That's it. To me, that's just a feeding frenzy for lawyers. All that means is everybody's gonna lawyer up and start suing the shit out of each other.
Oh, they
you know
are.
What I mean, that's just what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, so why would you throw this like rock into this hornet's nest like Fender just did? That just doesn't make sense to me. Unless they're really struggling. I mean, you would know better than I would. Is Fender in
I don't think so.
Any kind of dire straits financially or something? Like, why would they feel so desperate?
Not that I can tell. I don't know. I mean, why does a dog lick his balls?
Yeah, well,
right?
We all know why.
Because he can, right?
Yeah,
so maybe just Fender just can, and so they did.
So I think they're being a bully, just like sort of like I'm the big dog, and I'm just. Gonna
you know, if you can get exclusivity for your thing, then
this reminds me a little bit of what Gibson did with the double cut, and they
or with the single cut thing.
Right? Yeah. That's the same sort of idea. Like
when they sued Paul Reed Smith.
Yeah, or anybody else making a version that's kind of vaguely like a Les Paul. I'm sure ESP probably had a similar thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, ESP and Hoshino would be probably the ones that would be the ones most
ESP and Hoshino would be the ones to fire back. Yeah. So, you know, I don't know. And I mean, can they enforce that like in places like Japan? Like this is just in Dusseldorf, Germany, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what the
jurisdiction is.
Copyright law in Japan, if it's something that's like a global thing, it's clearly not because the United States they can't do that. So it must just be the European Union.
Right.
I'm guessing.
I mean, in Japan, you can still get a Bernie.
Yeah.
Right. You can get, which is exactly like a Les Paul. It just says Bernie on it, and they keep making those, and no problem.
I don't know. I'd have to know. I don't know enough about international copyright law, unfortunately.
So the part to me that seems a little fishy is a court in Dusseldorf, Germany. Right.
Yeah.
So okay, maybe in Germany you can't, but I mean,
basically they won one lawsuit against one Asian manufacturer, and now they're saying that this applies to everybody.
Right.
So,
so that's. I don't know.
So what's in it for them though? Is that going to make them look good? Are they going to like?
I mean, it's exclusivity, right? If the only play, you know. So I don't own any Fender guitars.
Well, I own Charvel and EVH guitars. Yeah, that's so. I guess I kind of own a Fender guitar.
Yeah, you kind of do. I mean, I had that Charvel for a while.
Just like I have a Kramer, so I kind of own a Gibson guitar, I guess.
Right, because Gibson owns it. Yeah, but all the rest of the guitars, you know, I've got Carvin Kiesels, I've got my Ibanez, I've got a pre-Fender Jackson.
I'm just glad that VGA's done because I'm sure they'd be like, "Fuck, man," you know, because all my VGAs are Strat style.
Boy, I wonder if Patrice Vigier knew this was coming down the pike.
He was too busy. Like, I'm gonna go to one of my villas and just hang out. I'm in my late 60s. I'm done with the grind. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna take all my money and go to my south of France villa and just you know have get
my Italian accent
exactly and then enjoy. Yeah. In your face, Fender.
Right. I fought in your general direction.
Well, I mean, they have a guitar that absolutely shits on every Fender, so. What you gonna do?
So that's kind of the bummer, right? Like Fender doesn't really make anything I want guitar-wise.
Yeah, exactly.
They recently purchased PreSonus.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Studio One is owned by Fender.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, there's a new software suite. I think it's called Fender Play or something like that. So it's like a stripped down version of Studio One.
Well, I think that just shows you that like everything else, there's like a few big dogs that are eating all the little dogs. You know, that's just what's That's business needs it.
It's funny you mentioned, so just on the topic of cannibalism.
Oh, okay.
There's,
yeah, I was trying to bring up some cannibalism.
Totally.
We have not met our cannibalism quota for this podcast yet.
Okay, so, I saw the best, they've got the best commercial running, okay? It's for Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, I've seen it. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So there's
like all the bits and pieces of the other cinnamon in his fridge.
So, yeah.
And he's like, I know what I'm doing is wrong, but I can't help it.
Right. So this one piece of Cinnamon Toast Crunch goes to his refrigerator where there's a bunch of, body parts of other Cinnamon Toast Crunches, with the little, googly eyes still there, right? And then so he's cannibalizing himself, right?
Yeah.
He's clearly a serial killer.
Literally a serial killer.
Get it?
Cannibal.
Wah, wah. Yeah. So a piece of Cinnamon Toast Crunch is eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah, I think that's super weird, man.
It is the creepiest fucking
that'll be on
commercial.
during SpongeBob and stuff like that.
Yeah, it is. I love it. It is the creepiest commercial for a children's cereal. I love it.
Hey, I love Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I will tell you that.
And,
as a grown-ass adult, I still think that's so.
And I love how they are slipping in some serious horror. And
it is pretty graphic and horrible.
It really is. If you get what's going on in the commercial, so someone at that ad agency, give that person a raise.
Someone's Clive Barker running the thing or something.
Dude, yeah, it's like the Silence of the Lambs of cereal commercials. It's really pretty. It's like when he opens the fridge and there's all those pieces
the parts of them in there. Yeah.
Right, of his brethren.
Yeah.
Right.
His victims, really. Let's be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like the Jeffrey Dahmer of cereal. It's basically like Jeffrey Dahmer if he were a piece of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I remember seeing that and thinking, wow, we're going to a really dark place here for 9 a.m. on a Sunday.
I can't believe it. It's just bizarre. And it's something about the dust. They're talking about the cinnamon dust.
So the angel dust.
He does it for the dust. Yeah. So how many controlled substances could that be a reference to? Exactly. All of them, really.
Seriously.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
that's some dark stuff. That's a dark way to start your day with Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Well, maybe that inspired Fender to do the darkness that they've been doing. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe one has to do the other. But I don't know. That just strikes me as desperation. When I see Gibson suing people and trying to put competition out of business, and seeing Fender trying to put
I don't think about
desperation.
I think any company, if you have an opportunity to crush your competitor, it's a law of the jungle, man. I guess. I don't think it's desperation. I think it's just business corporations are going to do
an opening and try and take advantage of it.
Right, businesses are going to do what they're going to do. The whole reason for a business to exist is to make money.
That's
it.
Clearly, you've never heard of the music business, my friend.
That's you have to turn a profit.
I don't. Music business. Come on.
I know.
That's the one business that does not work, man. There's no profit.
Someone's making some profits. They're just not making profits the way they used to, right? And that explains, the current musical landscape.
Yeah.
But
coffee shops. That's
so Fender. Fender needs to turn a profit. So whatever it is that they can do to increase profits and value for their thing,
Fender's going from I want to make a lot of money to I want to make all the money. That's basically what's happening. And I don't know. It's
but see, Fender always wanted to make all the money. It's just they weren't able to because there's competitors making some of that money. But if you can stick it to your competitor, then you do.
I don't know, man. That's pretty gross.
That's America, man.
One of the reasons I play guitar, and I'm not
welcome to America.
Cutthroat business, business.
Just have a big old bowl of corn trucks or cinnamon toast cannibals, and Cannibal Toast Crunch,
Cannibal Crunch.
Yes, Cannibal Crunch. I like that.
Delicious. All right, guys.
Next thing you know, Cannibal Corpse is going to be on. Now, if they include Cannibal Corpse on the Cinnamon Toast Crunch,
they're scoring the movie or scoring the commercial.
Dude, I want as soon as the little piece of
Corpse
Cinnamon
Grinder
Toast,
Fisher inspired.
Right. Corpse Grinder Crunch.
Yeah.
So it'd be so great if as soon as he opens the refrigerator door, if we hear hammer smashed face, that would be perfect.
That'd be on the nose, though.
If they want to upgrade, continue on with the ad campaign.
Yes, clearly that's where they're going. That's
absolutely.
That's the thought.
Just listen, Kellogg's or whoever makes. Just you guys can call me.
Okay, he's got.
I've got some great ideas.
We've saved Hollywood. We're not going to save the cereal industry. That is really we are just bringing the ideas. I love that. I appreciate it.
Dude, you can imagine if you served your Cinnamon Toast Crunch with a strawberry preserver, just some sort of red liquid you could sprinkle all over it so it looked like blood.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be the best.
It's gonna happen.
So a bunch of bloody cinnamon toast, strawberry body parts in your bowl of milk.
That's clearly the next commercial. That's where it's
That'd
going.
Be so cool. Or if if they could, they could form instead of squares just into little arms and legs. Like torsos,
like half a head or something with an eye.
Cinnamon toast. cinnamon torso crunch.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's got to be other parts too. It can't no one wants to bowl torsos. I mean, that's
absolutely.
That's
well, again, you have to have arms and legs and stuff, right?
You know, the whole thing. You know, I mean, parts of eyeballs.
And you got to make sure you eat the whole bowl so that the FBI can't identify you.
Glad to see you putting thought into this. Oh my God.
Absolutely. Well, I'm just I've been inspired.
Okay. Well, very much. Well,
absolutely.
If you want to be inspired, you can go and check out our website at xagesband.com.
That's www.exagesband.com.
Yep. Working on new music as we speak. Please make sure to follow us on social media while you're there and check out all of our comings and goings and whatnot. Please make sure to rate and subscribe to this podcast as well.
And sign up for Stairway to Stardom at Skips Music.
You got it.
Do it.
If you're in the Sacramento area, you can make sure that happens. Absolutely. You guys have a great week. We'll catch you next time.
Peace.